product designer in the Foundations group. This is my heuristic evaluation of the new doc search, just to walk through for the UX scorecard. So in summary, I think the new doc search will have a result of a C+. My top recommendations are ensuring the browser back button doesn't cause data loss. I think we can increase the user confidence when there are no auto-suggestions by showing their search term. We can help shape the mental model, help people use the search better if we recommend useful or popular searches. And I think the usability and the visual polish can increase if we use consistent search input styling. I've linked the research issue where there's more details and links to all of the raw files and data used. So first, to give a disclaimer that this is a heuristic evaluation. No users were consulted or observed as part of this, and I've used the heuristics, the guidelines that are listed in our handbook. There's also no jobs to be done presented as part of this effort. So I've created a pseudo job to be done that I've listed here and a testing scenario. After testing, it was pointed out that the main use for docs isn't troubleshooting, but is for feature discovery and learning about specific features. I reran the study with that framing in mind, and there were no real differences. So rather than rewrite that new study up, we're looking from this job to be done, but whichever way we frame it, the result I think is the same. So let's have a look at the user journey that I followed. This is documented in a mural where I've marked my expectations for user thoughts, their pain points, opportunities in the experience, and some notes about some of the particular heuristics, as well as documenting the steps and the stages as part of this experience. So let's walk through that now. Step one is arriving at the docs. Like I mentioned, I think showing recommended or popular searches near here can help shape the user's mental model for how search works and help them construct good searches, useful searches that'll help them find the answers that they need. But a caveat to that, these recommendations must be good recommendations. So there's some work there to ensure that they'll be good ones. Next step is starting searching. The auto-suggest is really responsive. It starts working really quickly, even after a single character, which I think is great. But if the term doesn't have any auto-suggested options, this might look like it's broken or there will be no results. So I'd recommend keeping the same style in, but having the user's search term as an option underneath. Something else I noticed, especially when I did the rerun of this with the different job to be done, if we've got high confidence that this is only one realistic result, clicking this should go straight through to the page rather than having that intermediary step. It could help users get to where they need to go faster and also increase the trust and confidence in these auto-suggests. Search results then, after searching either with the enter key or hitting the search button or tapping one of these auto-suggested searches. There's lots like here. Filters apply straight away, but they do rely users knowing how the doc sites are constructed for them to be really useful. And there's also not a lot of information about where in the site structure a page exists. So for example, services here turned out to actually be only for CI/CD and wouldn't have helped our user with this query. So there might be an opportunity to bring more of the metadata out of this view to help users decide which would be most useful for them. So clicking on a results takes us through to the results page. This information in the preview is lost. This is a really long page, and what's visible here doesn't match what was visible here. So consider highlighting the part of the page that was visible in the preview, and there's a couple of different techniques you could use to help people get there faster. Hitting the back button to amend the search. Great, search term is retained. I can easily edit my query, but I've lost my filter selection, and if I was on page 4 and scrolled down a page, I get reset to page 1. So it's really important here that the back button matches users' expectations of bringing them back exactly where they were before. It's really easy to start a new search from anywhere in the docs. We have the search input in the header and on the search results page. Something that might be helpful when making a new search is being able to see a bit of your search history. Might help with workflows that are often repeated but infrequent, and help users retrace their steps if they found something useful in the past. And then the last page I looked at is the no results. It's great that this isn't a dead end, and there are a couple of different opportunities here if we wanted to improve or try and improve the performance of this page. So some of the key opportunities I'd like to call out, as mentioned, bringing some sense of useful or popular searches might help users use the search better. The auto-suggest, if we've got high confidence that the page that their auto-suggest is suggesting is one single page and not a bunch of pages that needs to go to a search results, skip that results page and go straight to the docs page with the information. Again, this is where we've lost the information from the preview. If a snippet of an answer was seen there, it can be hard to re-find that on the docs page, and there's an opportunity around search history and how that might help some users in their workflows. So some of the big pain points I noticed: the returning to the search results loses some of the user's work. It might take them a little while to find out, to retrace their steps, work out where they were, do a bit of rework. The searches where there are no autocomplete or auto-suggested results might reduce users' confidence in search. They might think that there's no point me searching this because there will be no results. So I think there's some opportunities around that. And like we saw with our services example, when the page titles aren't explicit, there's limited information about the scope and context of a page. So some of the stuff I thought was really good is auto-suggest. If it gives good suggestions, is really likely to benefit users, both with how they build their search terms, but also confidence that they're going to find what they're looking for. The search input was styled in a way that was easy to find. Great best practices like no placeholder text, having a real clickable button for a submit. It was great to see the no results page not be a dead end, and the speed of the auto-suggest and the filters, how they're applied automatically, makes the docs feel very responsive. So also while looking at this, I noticed a few areas where we could add some visual polish. One is adding a bit of depth to the page, visually emphasizing the active search. When a search is in progress, really bring the user's attention in, bring back some of the other distractions on the page, which we could do by adding an overlay, like in these examples. We could add some polish by having consistent search inputs. We've got 3 different search inputs on the current implementation, using different icons, different clear buttons. If we bring these all to use the same style, they should help increase the balance between the pages, but also allows for matching height with other elements in this bar. These examples use the pajamas component. Another opportunity is building a shared visual language between the input and the suggested results. Currently these use in two different styles. They're quite jarring. Here's an example of what it could look like if we created some styles based on perhaps the drop-down component. And the last visual polish that I'd like to call out is anything we can do to prevent layout shift. So currently when you load the page, there's a moment where there is no input and any input appears and the rest of the page gets pushed down. If we added a placeholder that had the right dimensions, we could mitigate this, and it would also have the benefit of letting users know what's happening. There's something loading here. The best case scenario is we get the performance to the point where we don't need one of these mitigations, but if we can't, something like this could work. So again, just to recap, I think this would score a C+ using our heuristics. My top recommendations are around the back button behaviors, how we can increase user confidence when there are no auto-suggested search terms, how we can shape users' mental models, help them use search better by recommending useful or popular searches, and increase the usability and some of the finesse with consistent search input styling. Again, there's more detail in the research issue, but thanks for listening. I hope this was helpful.